Taxes. And
who's his opponent over here?
His opponent is Jeremiah Rudolph, whom Ari Lax informed me is one of the guys to watch when it comes to this deck. His specialty deck,
Okay.
12 post.
Oh, 12 post. That's really
12
cool.
post.
I love the 12 post deck.
He's playing a Rug 12 post deck, which I've actually played a little bit against on Magic Online. I did not know that this deck ever played red until they fetched up a red source and Bonfire the Damned me, because that's what this deck does with red.
Really?
Yes. It actually makes a lot of sense because it's a Brainstorm top deck already, and it has a lot of extra shuffle effects due to Expedition Map and Crop Rotation. So it's really easy for you to get Bonfire of the Damned level mana and to set it up on top of your deck effectively. It sounds odd and it is kind of weird, but it's a very powerful spell if you can resolve it.
Yep, and Elijah Herr is actually playing Death and Taxes. We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Not a deck that wants to see Bonfire of the Damned in general, I think.
I kind of have a feeling that Elijah Herr is probably a pretty big underdog here.
It'll definitely kind of depend. Jeremiah has the play, which I think is huge.
Okay.
But, it is a Wasteland Rashadenport matchup for him.
Sure.
And his deck is, he plays with those cards in mind. He has main deck Pithing Needles to handle the Wasteland and the Rashadenport.
Okay.
He has some tricky ways to get around Rashadenport, specifically like Candelabra of Tawnos. And he can get value against Wasteland thanks to 3 crop rotations.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah did get a pretty good draw so far. Ether Vial into Rashadenport is pretty much what he wants in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll see if he has any pressure coming out in the next couple of turns. Ether Vial will tick up, and it'll probably stay at 3 counters. Would you say 2 or 3 counters? He wants that.
Yeah. This one's not even going to get very far at all.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeremiah with a repeal.
All right, repeal will bounce at Ether Vial and draw him a card. So pretty good tempo for Jeremiah.
Yeah, it looks like this is during, I assume,
His
Jeremiah's upkeep.
Yeah, because he tried to port,
ported.
he sacked. Exactly. All right, so pretty good play for Jeremiah over here. We'll see what he draws. Also, some pretty interesting sleeves. I can't make out what it is, but it's definitely maybe like a cartoon character.
That is a My Little Pony character.
Oh, My Little Pony.
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil it for the audience, but yeah.
All right. So Jeremiah will now draw for his turn. He drew a Show and Tell, and he does have another land.
It looks like he has, I think, a couple Bonfire of the Dams from the look of it in his hand.
Okay, so Jeremiah is definitely developing his mana, and Elijah's going to try to lock it down with the port. They're going to go back and forth, but that repeal has, so far proven to be pretty good.
Yeah, repeal is incredibly powerful against Aether Vial. It's also quite a good card against these Delver decks. When they flip their Delver, you just get to cantrip and sort of kill it for a single blue mana.
Yeah. All right, so Elijah replays Aether Vial. It might not be the same one that was in play before because he has multiple Aether Vials in his hand. And that is the problem with Death and Taxes sometimes. You might just draw just too many Aether Vials.
Elijah goes for the blue source instead of the Cloud Post.
Which is fine here.
It's fine. It's interesting because it is a big debate. You got to decide how you're going to lock down their mana. Denying him blue lets him, maybe only cast 1 cantrip. If he had 2 cantrips, that would be a pretty good turn, even if the Cloud Post got tapped. On the other hand, it opens up the possibility of him doing one of his big plays, like Show and Tell.
So Jeremiah decides to not float the mana and Brainstorm. Pretty close call there, right? He doesn't want to Brainstorm lock himself, but finding another blue mana could be useful.
Until he has another red mana, he can't really maximize those Bonfire of the Dams. I think that's what he really wants to be able to do. Brainstorm, put some Bonfires back, and actually flip them to kill some creatures later.
Okay, that's fair.
He's not under any pressure, so he doesn't actually have to feel the burn, as it were.
Sure.
He can take his time with the Brainstorm. I like patience with Brainstorm.
Okay, all right. No, I could definitely
one of
get behind
those.
you. Yeah, you and AJ Soccer.
Yeah, AJ he told me once that whenever he ends a game with a Brainstorm still in his hand, he likes to pat himself on the back.
Yeah,
that's
how AJ actually determines his friends, how you use your Brainstorm. So I'm like, AJ, turn on Brainstorm. He's like, you're not my friend anymore. All right, we're just joking around, but Jeremiah did draw a Flood of Strands, which is a very good draw here.
Now, Elijah did not port him on upkeep, and 3 mana up, no port on upkeep. Jeremiah should be expecting an Aven Mind Sensor from that line.
Exactly, yeah. Most likely, Aven Mind Sensor will come down. Do you think Jeremiah is going to go for the Show and Tell? Does he have anything in hand?
I don't know if he actually has one.
Is that a Primeval Titan?
I think that he has an altered Primeval Titan. That's my guess.
That's what it looks like.
Jeremiah is cracking the fetch land.
And there is an Aven Mind Sensor.
And there's the Mind Sensor. Now, it's important for Jeremiah to figure out if the Mind Sensor is there or not.
Yeah.
Because his Primeval Titan also gets shut down by the Aven Mind Sensor.
Exactly.
So.
But, I mean, still getting a Primeval Titan in play is not the worst thing. And it still would be the top 4 cards for Primeval Titan. So there's a chance that he could hit stuff.
Yeah, it can definitely hit, it could hit as many as 2 lands. Like, it could certainly get there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of tricky, and the big thing, and especially in this deck with Primeval Titan, is selection. Selection is everything.
Exactly. So do you think Jeremiah is going to go Show and Tell right here?
I don't think so.
Is it just
I'm not
not
sure
worth
what
it?
his plan is. He can bonfire for one
one?
to clear the Aven Mind Sensor now.
Yeah, I guess that's his line.
If he has 2 bonfires in his hand, which we think he does,
Okay.
then it makes a lot of sense to do
Sure.
it that way.
All right. So that's exactly what Jeremiah does, and I guess next turn he's gonna maybe try to set up a show and tell, depending on the port.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Looks like Elijah Herr drew a land this turn.
Yep.
His Iganjo Castle, I think.
yeah, one of Castle right there.
It's actually a pretty decent card against Bonfire, the Damned,
Yeah.
oddly enough.
You could save your Thalia, right?
Yeah, you can definitely save a Thalia if it's not for enough.
All right. So and he plays the castle right there, and I believe Elijah. There's a decent chance he's gonna go Batter Skull here, right? And that's what he does.
Yep.
Yeah. So Jeremiah is gonna be able to put that Titan into play and not have to worry about like another Even Mind Sensor or pretty much anything, right?
Well, if Elijah has another Aven Mind Sensor in his hand, the Show and Tell would let him put it into
Oh,
play.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be tricky, but I think he should
I
feel
was just
safe.
looking at the Ether file. I was like, yeah, 1 and 2, everything's fine. Here's a Show and Tell. Okay, let's see. It is a My Little Pony. No, it's a Primeval Titan.
Yep. Flicker
Flicker
Wisp.
Wisp.
Well, I imagine that's not going to target Primeval Titan.
Exactly.
It's probably going to target nothing, is my guess.
Just. All right, so Primeval Titan, the trigger will go on the stack. And what do you think he's going to search out here? Because he has a bunch of options, right?
Well, it looks like the Flicker Wisp is targeting the Cloud Post. I imagine that's a way for him to head off Jeremiah, searching up a bunch of Glimmer Posts, kind of make him get less life.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the life's not too relevant here, right?
Now, he's not under enough pressure for the life to matter, and he has the Primeval Titan to block the Batter Skull anyway, so if Elijah wants to get in for damage, he's going to have to move the Batter Skull onto the Flicker Wisp.
Yeah.
Now, that is a pretty sizable clock, so Jeremiah's probably going to get some assortment of posts.
Yeah, I think so too.
If he had a Tabernacle in his deck, I could see maybe fetching that up, but he doesn't run one.
Okay.
The 1 mana tax would actually keep Elijah from being able to equip Batter Skull without a 6th land.
Yeah, I was just talking about Tabernacle. Tabernacle shot up to a $500 card. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those cards are very, very rare. Do you own one?
I do not own one.
Oh, man,
no.
I was looking for a trade. All right. Well, what's Elijah's best line here?
Well,
Is it just to move over the Batter Skull?
He just drew a Swords to Plowshares, and he can go ahead and use that to clear the
That's
Primeval
pretty good.
Titan, and then he still gets in for basically the same amount of damage.
And he doesn't have to move it over.
Yeah, although Jeremiah does gain 6 life in the process, so it's kind of a wash turn.
Okay.
But not having to face down a Primeval Titan, that's a pretty big deal.
Exactly. Very good draw there. So it looks like Elijah's going to swing in for 7. This will drop Jeremiah down to 19. So Elijah will have access to the Rishadan port, most likely going after the Volcanic Island, would you say?
Yeah, I think that he has to aim for the Volcanic Island. Jeremiah doesn't really have lands that can do anything else.
Okay.
Each of the Cloud Posts taps for a bunch, but he'll still have a bunch even if he loses one. So Elijah's best tactic is going to be locking out that colored mana, try to prevent Jeremiah from going like Brainstorm into Brainstorm or Brainstorm
Yeah.
into Show and Tell.
Yeah, definitely seems like a reasonable line here. I think even though Jeremiah, did resolve that Show and Tell, did cast a Bonfire to kill the Aven Mind Sensor, I think Elijah's probably still a slight favorite here.
Yeah, I think Elijah's doing okay. Jeremiah has spells and mana. Elijah decides to tap down the Cloud Post.
I wonder why. What do you think his thought process is there?
I'm honestly not sure. I imagine he's kind of scared of the big Eldrazi's.
Okay.
Like, an Emrakul or Ulamog or Kozilek could be pretty damaging to his position here.
Yeah, he could just hard cast it.
Yeah, the problem is that Brainstorm makes those things much more likely to happen anyway.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he had a Brainstorm, he could just cast it in response to the port. But I think there are cantrips to be concerned about.
Yeah, and I think Jeremiah kind of gave away the fact that he did have a Brainstorm because 2 turns ago he thought pretty hard about it on his upkeep. I don't know if you remember that.
Sure. So maybe Elijah's like, well, I'll tap this colorless land. I don't want him to get any value out of that land unless he decides to get it himself.
Yeah, so a couple of interesting lines here. This is very difficult. I mean, these players are playing for top 8. Top 8's on the line. They played all day. They got here probably 9 a.m. So they really don't want to make any misplay, any small, judgment call. They're trying to play the best they could.
I think if I'm Jeremiah, I think he has a Trinket Mage, and I would be Trinket Maging for Candelabra of Tawnos. He has a Singleton one.
That seems pretty strong.
And that lets him reuse the blue mana. He gets
Okay.
access to another blue spell this turn if he wants it.
Do you think...
And also untap all those Cloud Posts.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly what he does. So he has access to a lot of mana right now. Especially next turn, he can pretty much just do anything he wants.
Yeah, the other major targets for the Trinket Mage are Pithing Needle and Sensei's Divining Top. Sensei's Divining Top's a real powerhouse in this deck due to all the shuffling, but he really needs that engine for mana. He's going to lean on the Brainstorm probably to just draw him into
I was about
something.
to say that, yeah. If he didn't have the Brainstorm, maybe he would have got top here. But because he has Brainstorm, he's like, yeah, I'm going to search. Hopefully he's find something. And the Candelabra is definitely a good pull for him right there. So Elijah will now think about this. Oh, wow. Phyrexian Revoker came down in the meantime.
Yeah, I imagine that went ahead and named Candelabra.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, there's a Wasteland on the Volcanic Island. So all of a sudden, Elijah, he's really putting up a good fight here.
Yeah, the tables turned. I think that Jeremiah, I'm unsure when the Aether Vial was specifically activated. If it was activated in response to Jeremiah casting Candelabra, which is when it probably should have been.
Yeah, probably should have, yeah.
That would prevent Jeremiah from being able to untap that blue source.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case. We were so amazed with Jeremiah's play. We're like, wow, and all of a sudden Phyrexian Revoker really shut that down. So Legacy is a pretty swingy format.
Yeah, this is definitely turning Elijah's way pretty quickly here. Jeremiah's under a quick clock. He literally can't cast any of the spells in his hand. On the upside, he could just draw an Emrakul and like win almost on the spot, right?
Can he cast the Emrakul?
Oh, he can cast the Emrakul. He's got
even with the port, right? He
has 20 mana just on the cloud posts.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So there's a draw. It's another Trinket Mage.
Ooh, he has Eye of Ugin, though.
He does. Okay, so he's on 12, and he's going to go down to 3. Yeah, I think this is enough here.
Yeah.
And he also has a Trinket Mage for a chump blocker.
He does have the Trinket Mage to chump block the Batterskull for a turn, and he's going to go ahead and use his Eye of Ugin right now.
Okay. So that Emrakul's only going to cost 13 mana, correct?
Yeah, 13 mana, including the 2 discounted from the Eye of Ugin.
Yeah, I like how we say only 13. Oh, wow. He's not going for the Emrakul.
Well, I think this turn he was a little short on casting Emrakul and activating Eye, but he can go ahead and just get Kozilek.
Yeah, well, I was thinking he could set it up for next turn, but I guess next turn he'll have enough mana to do both. Search and cast. Yeah,
exactly. So,
oh, wow. Yeah, that's... All right, so all of a sudden it's looking really good for Jeremiah now.
Yeah, the tables have turned. That's what happens when Eldrazi enter the battlefield.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game. A lot of back and forth, back and forth. So Elijah will shuffle up Jeremiah's deck. And he's going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. So he draws 4 cards here.
And if he hits a blue source, he'll have access to his Brainstorm.
There's a Pithing Needle. I think he did hit a blue source. Unfortunately, he already played the Eye this turn, so he's going to have to wait a turn on that.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
And he hit
Sensei's Divining Top as well.
Top and Needle.
Needle's probably naming Aether Vial, I'm guessing?
I'm guessing Aether Vial,
Port?
maybe Port.
Yeah.
Wasteland. Okay, that's actually 100% correct.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
We're dumb. Good call, Jeremiah. Clearly, he's played this deck a little more than us.
And he probably played this matchup more than us. So.
Yeah. Wasteland locks out the ability for Elijah to prevent himself from getting an Emrakul cast on him next turn. And even if he had peeled a Caracas, that wouldn't actually do anything since Jeremiah's hard casting these Emrakuls.
Yep. Okay, so Jeremiah goes on to 5, but it doesn't really matter, right?
No, he's going to untap and pretty much win the game almost on the spot.
Yeah, because he'll be able to attack with the 15-15. He'll be able to swing in. He's going to lose 5. He's going to have 6. So, I think Jeremiah might have pulled this out here.
Yeah, that very timely Eye of Ugin comes down alongside all those cloud posts. And I'm not really familiar with anything Elijah can do. He's going to lose 4 of his permanents to Kozilek's attack, and then Jeremiah's going to be able to search up the Emrakul with
another Phyrexian Revoker.
Yep, I don't know what it named. Probably top. That's why Jeremiah popped his top in response.
Yeah,
expecting it.
Yeah, it was top. Yep. Okay, makes the most sense here. So he'll draw that top. Did he need to draw that top there? Couldn't he have searched?
Yeah, he could have upkeeped, searched with the Eye of Ugin.
And he would have had enough mana regardless.
It's possible he fears an Aven Mind Sensor, but I don't think Elijah has cards in hand, right?
Yeah, he's empty-handed.
He's going to go ahead and do it now.
Okay. So he has 13 mana in the pool, is that right? Am I counting correctly or no?
I think he's got a bit more than that because those Glimmer Posts are counting for those Cloud Posts too.
Okay, yeah. A bit more. Well, okay, so there it is. There's the Emrakul, and Elijah scoops it up.
So there it goes. It took 2 Eldrazi. One did not finish the job, but the second Eldrazi did merit the concession from Elijah.
And that was a lot of back and forth, back and forth. Definitely an interesting game to watch, interesting game to commentate on. Probably interesting game to actually play.
Yeah, it looked. You see Jeremiah, he's like, oh well, I managed to pull that one out. That was
Yeah, you know.
pretty dynamic stuff. Thought I was gonna die for a second.
Elijah was definitely putting up a pretty good fight. So now let's go to the sideboard. Elijah has a couple of cards that he might want to bring in here. A couple of cards he probably doesn't want to bring in here. Okay, Oblivion Ring. How important is Oblivion Ring here?
Oblivion Ring is one of Elijah's best answers
Best
to
cards.
show and tell specifically.
Exactly.
I expect he'll definitely bring those in, and he can sandbag them. That's the beauty of show and tell.
Exactly. What do you think about the additional Pithing Needle? Probably going to bring that in too.
Definitely bring in the Pithing Needle. In fact, Jeremiah has so many targets for it that it's going to be difficult picking the right one.
Exactly. Another card he's probably going to bring in is the Sword and Feast and Famine.
Yep, that's the go-to combo sword, as it were,
It also gets past the Primeval Titan.
It does. It allows you to swing your Batterskull past Primeval Titan while also defending from Primeval Titan.
Which is pretty important.
Back in the day, that used to let Batterskull race Progenitus. Primeval Titan is really not so different. Once it starts attacking, you're going to be dead pretty soon.
All right, so we have a slight idea of what Elijah's going to bring in. What about Jeremiah? Does he have any specific cards you might want to bring in here?
Jeremiah's deck is really anti-combo out of the board. He has 4 Force of Will, 4 Swan Song, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Glen Elendra Archmage.
All right, that's a nice one. You don't really see in Legacy too often.
Outside of that, he has a Singleton Glacial Chasm. That's a reasonable card he might want to bring in. He can use it to lock up the board for a little bit by preventing some damage. I'm not excited about it, but
I don't think so.
I don't think I would want it. Then his last 2 slots are 2 Sneak Attacks. And honestly, Jeremiah, as his deck designer label indicates, I think Jeremiah is the only one of us who knows for sure why those sneak attacks are there. Obviously, a powerful card in his deck. It lets him turn into this pseudo sneak and show deck.
Yeah, maybe against like Esper Deathblade, they're good.
I could see it being. I could even see it being good here, to be honest. As a weapon against Caracas, it's traditionally quite strong, assuming you can get 2 red mana available. However, that's pretty tricky against a deck like Death and Taxes. They're specifically designed to keep that from happening.
Yeah, I know, because Death and Taxes versus Sneak and Show, Death and Taxes has a great matchup.
Yeah.
So you would think Post wouldn't want to turn it into like a Sneak and Show type deck. You would really want to keep it more of like a Post and Show deck.
Yeah, it's entirely possible he boards in nothing.
I mean,
the Force of Will does not sound very attractive since most of his blue cards are good.
Yeah.
You don't want to exile Repeal to Force of Will. You don't want to exile Brainstorm to Force of Will. You don't want to exile Show and Tell or Trinket Mage. Like, those cards actually do pretty important things in this deck, so...
And I mean, is he really going to Force of Will a Mother of Ruins? He doesn't really care about a Mother of Ruins.
Yeah, the only thing a Mother of Ruins can do is save like a creature from Bonfire of the Damned, which
like
depending on the creature, it might matter. But yeah, I think Jeremiah's deck is pretty suited where he wants it as far as game 1 goes.
Yeah.
Maybe adjusts very slightly, but I doubt much.
Okay.
One of the other cards in Elijah's sideboard that seems pretty exciting, the Thomas and a Volson special, I like to call it, the 2 Cataclysms.
Yep, Cataclysm. Cataclysms is definitely an interesting card, all the way from Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus rare. It was sort of printed as a fixed balance at the time.
Yeah.
It kind of echoes the idea of balance, but in a way that's significantly less abusable.
Exactly.
The original balance let people break the symmetry in half by putting all these artifacts and enchantments into play, and then clearing the board of all their opponents' permanents.
Yeah.
Cataclysm, everybody gets one of everything.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been doing a lot of coverage, especially today. Do you think that there is a card in Legacy that's been like the breakout card today? Is there any breakout card today?
I think True Name Nemesis has continued to reprise its role as a Legacy standout. We're going to see it for years to come, I expect. That's a card I have seen around a lot.
Yesterday we said it was Reaper of the Wilds.
Reaper of the Wilds, I would say that's a card that definitely is moving up on people's radars as a result of the standard.
I know sometimes you're an MTG finance guy. Reaper of the Wild, $2. Good deal, bad deal?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I kind of moved in on Reaper of the Wilds before the PT, and I got burned.
Oh,
so.
really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
that did not pan out for me. So I still have some Reaper of the Wilds, so I'm hoping it works out again. Second
so you're pretty
Sunrise.
much talking your own book. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Elijah is on the play. Jeremiah on the draw here with a Volcanic Island, just passes the turn.
His hand looks kind of land heavy. He has the Eye of Ugin starting on the Volcanic Island.
I feel like the 12 post deck could pretty much just keep any hand.
It can keep a lot of hands. As long as you've got some cantrips and some lands, the hand's going to be pretty good. Top is beautiful
So,
for
I was
that.
about to say, Top seems like one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah, it's an excellent card. It also, in this matchup, helps you kind of diminish the value of your opponent's Rishadan port, as it really puts the Rishadan port player through their paces.
Yeah.
They got to figure out exactly when to port you to make the top as the least amount of efficient.
Yeah. Now, Thalia is really good in this matchup.
Yeah.
It's pressure. It also, really messes up Jeremiah's game plan because it slows him down a bit.
Jeremiah is a cantrip-based combo deck, so a Thalia is going to be good against him, much as it's good against Show and Tell and other assorted cantrip-based.
Now,
combo
is this
decks.
definitely even Mind Sensor?
I would assume it's likely. There aren't a lot of hands where Elijah doesn't port and doesn't have Aven Mind Sensor. It's just like, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Now, he is going to Brainstorm in response, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It looked like Jeremiah kind of gave a thumbs up, but I guess it's all in response.
Yeah, he
has to
incorrectly
pay 2
cast the
mana.
Brainstorm, so they're
Remember, yeah.
rewinding for a second.
It's because of the Thalia. Aven Mind Sensor will still cost 3 because it's a creature, but any non-creature spell for both players.
Mm-hmm.
So Brainstorm for 2 mana, would you still play it in your deck?
Yeah, probably. In Legacy, for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if they've made Brainstorm in Standard, if it would even be good.
Brainstorm in Standard, I don't think it would be very good right now.
Not really,
No.
right?
It would not be a big breaker. The only thing I would like about it is these mono blue devotion decks. It would be kind of sweet to be able to throw back excess lands, but that deck actually can already make use of a lot of its mana with overloaded Cyclonic Rift, Mutavaults, Thassa.
So how would you shuffle everything away?
I don't think you'd shuffle. You would just be using it to like try and get a big boost because that deck
Okay.
tends to like do like a good 1 or 2 turns of just bashing for a lot of damage. So the Brainstorm can kind of boost you ahead right when you need it. It can also hide cards from Thoughtseize, which in this standard format actually matters a little bit.
And it could also do some weird interaction with Nightveil Spectre. You're getting attacked by a Nightveil Spectre. You're worried you have a good card on top. You're like, Brainstorm. Okay, you could have my uncastable Arbor Colossus.
That's sweet.
You
Yeah,
know,
I could
so-
see that happening.
All right, Aaron Forsythe, bring back Brainstorm.
Yeah, we've okayed it. There
Yeah.
you go. That's all you needed.
Speaking of Aaron Forsythe, there was actually an autographed foil Jace the Mind Sculptor you guys had for sale. And it was in the heavily plate section. I love it.
Yeah, it was a near mint
It was.
foil Jason Mind Sculptor autographed by Aaron Forsythe. We were offering quite a deal on it too. $400, and you get a StarCityGames.com beanie with your purchase.
I told them about adding the beanie.
They did. They
Yeah.
added in the beanie. They took your
listened to me,
suggestion,
and
and
somebody
it
bought it.
sold.
Yeah.
That card sold. I was thinking about it.
Me too.
If I played any decks with Jace, I probably would have
If
bought
it was a Glenn Jones autograph, Jace, I think I would have bought it.
Aww.
Yeah, All right, so there is the Tropical Island, and Jeremiah is probably going to end his turn here. This is all in response to Aven Mind Sensor, remember.
Yeah, he can't cast any more spells, so I imagine that's going to be all he does here.
Yep. All right, I think Jeremiah's just counting the number of cards in his hand. I believe he has 6, and Elijah will take his turn here. He'll definitely bash in for 4. Jeremiah will fall to 13, so Jeremiah has to be a bit wary of his life total, right?
Yeah, Jeremiah is under pressure. The Thalia is going to slow him down, and Elijah's Rashad port can actually keep him from being able to get up to Bonfire, the Damned mana. So the question is, will Elijah lean on the port, or will he get greedy and play a creature? And he goes, go. Sends the turn to Jeremiah, and that means...
Oh, no.
Oh, no. It looked like he did.
Okay.
Well, it goes with Mirror Crusader.
Now, as long as Jeremiah has an untapped land, he'll be able to Bonfire for 1, destroying even Mind Sensor and Thalia.
Yeah, he'll be taking some damage from the Mirror Crusader, potentially a lot of damage, but removing the Thalia and the Mind Sensor in one spell, that's worth much more.
Exactly. And remember, normally a Bonfire for 1 would just be 3 mana, unless you Miracle it. But because of the Thalia, it's 1 extra.
Jeremiah makes sure he knows what Mirror Crusader's doing in there.
2/2 first, pro black, pro green, double striker.
Yeah, it's a high impact creature.
It really is. All right, Jeremiah will draw for the turn.
Glimmer Post. Well, that's an untapped land.
Post. Not a Cloud Post, but a Glimmer Post. So it looks like, a bit nervous there. Drops the Glimmer Post. I believe he's just going to go for the Bonfire here.
Yeah, I think he just plays Glimmer Post and Bonfires.
There's no other real line that he has, right?
It's not a fantastic play because Elijah will still have the initiative. He's going to be attacking for 4 damage, and he'll get to play something else if he has it. Which
Or he could sit on
certainly
port.
does. Or he could sit on port, yeah. All of those are kind of bad things. Jeremiah does have an extra Tropical Island in his hand, so incentivizing Elijah to sit on port might actually pay off for him.
That's definitely something to think about. Jeremiah will play a Bonfire for 1 here. I believe Jeremiah should be on 14. I believe it went from 13 to 14. Is that correct?
Yes, it should be 14.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah's on 14. We'll double check that for you. Elijah will draw. He draws a Wasteland.
One of his best cards in the matchup.
Wasteland's a pretty good draw. Okay, he was on 14, so we corrected that. That's perfect. Now he falls to 10. Wasteland on the Tropical Island. And he's probably going to sit on the port. The Serra Avenger does look, tempting. But I think it's just... Does he also have a Flicker Wisp in his hand?
He has a Flicker Wisp.
So Flicker... Oh, okay, so he goes with Dahlia. And passes the turn.
Yeah, he could have gone like Thalia Port you, but that's actually pretty much just worse than Wastelanding Jeremiah
Yeah,
anyway.
I think Wastelanding is better here. Jeremiah does have a Tropical Island, like you said. Does he have anything else? He has a Repeal.
He has an Ayavugan, a Primeval Titan, an Emrakul, a Trinket Mage, and the Tropical Island at least. So he's got some thinking to do is what he's got.
Yeah, so he could repeal the Thalia. Unfortunately, he cannot repeal the Mirror Crusader this turn. He would need one extra land for that, correct?
Yeah, he's got some decisions to make. I feel like he may want to cast the Trinket Mage to get a blocker down. Post board, he can feel pretty comfortable that Elijah has probably taken out some, if not, most of his Swords to Plowshares. So a chump blocker is going to be a safe play most of the time.
What would he fetch up here?
That's what he goes for. That's what I'm kind of interested to see. He doesn't have any Cloud Post, so a Candelabra is basically blank.
Yeah.
And he already has the Ayavugan, so he doesn't really need,
maybe a top?
map. So, yeah, I think he has to get top.
He can't even cast top this turn, though. That's the problem.
No. He can get Pithing Needle, with the plan being to, shut off the Rishadan port or some other piece of equipment.
So he's a Candelabra.
He does get the Candelabra. Well, I guess Jeremiah's planning for the long game. He figures if I can get out of this alive, this is going to be what I want the most.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. I mean, again, Jeremiah probably played this deck a bunch more times than us.
I can certainly certify that to be true in my case.
Yeah, because currently I think I played 12 posts 0 times.
I've seen him play 2 more games with it than I've played. So.
I believe Jeremiah recently came second place.
Yes, he finished second in the previous, I believe, Providence Legacy Open, which was
a few months ago.
Yeah, a while back, but certainly an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And considering, I'm pretty sure I played against this exact deck online.
Okay.
And that might have been Jeremiah too, for all I know.
Yeah, I believe it was. I think he played against Jeremiah Rudolph 123 on Magic Online. So.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
My online name is pretty distinctive. Most people know when they're beating me.
Is it Glenn Jones?
It's close.
Close.
It's Secluded Glenn, my Twitter
Secluded
handle.
Glenn.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So there is a Sarah Avenger. And Jeremiah falls to 8. He chumps the Mirror Crusader.
As expected, and Elijah deploys the Sarah Avenger, a creature that lives through even a miracled Bonfire of the Damned.
Yep. So it's lethal. Elijah's representing lethal damage right here.
No miracle for Jeremiah.
There's a draw. It's a Sensei's Divining Top. He's probably going to have to sit on the repeal. He should probably just main phase repeal the Sarah Avenger, right? And then go down to 2, but at least he gets the cantrip this turn.
Yeah, and that way he can maybe find a land, which is going to be really important for the next turn, because again, if he can miracle a Bonfire of the Damned, he wants it to be able to kill as many creatures as possible.
Exactly. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just goes ahead and cycles this repeal right here.
Yeah. I like your style play, Glenn. Are you free for the team events in the future?
Am I free for the team events? Jeremiah could cycle on the Thalia instead of the Sarah Avenger and go to 1, which locks out fetch lands for his land drops. But if he peels a non-fetch land, he'll be able to potentially play the top. Yeah.
Candelabra. Candelabra doesn't do anything, though. And is top really going to do anything either?
I don't think it does, but...
Oh, there's a map, and he's going to use the map.
I guess he has that Glacial Chasm we talked about. That's the only reason he could make this line.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess that's what he's going to search up.
Yep, there it is, Glacial Chasm.
All right, let's get Glacial Chasm on the screen right here. It's a card you don't see too often in Legacy. I kind of missed the land deck. All right, well, there it is right there. Glenn, why don't you tell him what it does?
All right, well, when Glacial Chasm enters the battlefield, you have to get rid of a land. So in Jeremiah's case, he's got some decisions to make on that one. And you can't attack while a Glacial Chasm's out, but most of the decks that play it are not even a little bit interested in doing that.
Exactly.
They're interested in the final line on the card, which is prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. That's basically an energy field, locks out everything the opponent can do, and all you have to do is pay 2 life during your upkeep, but it's a cumulative upkeep.
And he's probably going to sack a Volcanic Island here, but I'm worried he's going to make a misplay and sack the unlimited Volcanic Island. Oh, no. All right, he makes the...
He's tight.
He's tight. But, at first, he was reaching for the unlimited one. All right, so Elijah now with the Plains. Do you think he's going to... Is that a Flicker Wisp here?
Yeah, he's going to Flicker Wisp the Glacial Chasm. That will turn off Jeremiah's damage prevention.
Lethal.
And that's lethal. Yep.
Awesome. So really good play from Elijah. Now they're going to a Game 3. And it's pretty cool. Jeremiah's still smiling. He's like, yep. He's like happy to be there and stuff. He's probably so confident that he's going to win. And we're like, oh, what a good guy. He's just smiling because he lost. But they are going to a Game 3.
Yeah, Jeremiah never really got his legs underneath him in that game, which is exactly what Death and Taxes is designed to do.
Yeah.
Do a little mana disruption, put a little beatdown on you, and before you know it, that 2-1 has you on a clock, and you find yourself at 8 life staring down a bunch of white creatures.
Yeah, if you think about it, Death and Taxes is a deck that a lot of the cards are just kind of weak, and you're like, I mean, even Mind Sensor and, just some small white creatures, but it really disrupts the opponent. That's surprising because normally when you think about disruption decks, you think about decks that play Thoughtseize, they play Hemp-to-Torok, maybe they play some cheap counters like Spell Pierce or Daze. But no, the white deck is just a disruption deck with like nothing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a disruption deck with all its disruption cleverly disguised as mediocre Magic the Gathering creatures.
Yeah, seriously.
That's pretty much how it works. No, we don't run Thoughtseize. No, we don't run Cabal Therapy. We run Thalia. We run Flicker Wisp, Phyrexian Revoker. Phyrexian Revoker, not so different from a Cabal Therapy when you really stop and think about it. He's a 2/1 that turns off a card, and depending on the card in Legacy, it can even be better. For example, Sneak Attack. Phyrexian Revoker is an incredible card against Sneak Attack, and Thoughtseize is a little less good, what with the ability to hide it with Brainstorm, block with Leyline of Sanctity, draw more copies of it.
Exactly. And, he even has a couple of cyber cards like Aethersworn Canoness. Super good against any Storm deck.
Aethersworn Canoness is one of my favorite sideboard cards in Legacy. I really like it a lot. I especially like it out of the decks that are sideboarding like Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, because when you have an Aethersworn Canoness and play against Sneak and Show, it turns all of your counterspells into hard counters.
Exactly.
Since they can't counter back.
Yeah. Now, when you weren't here when I was doing commentary with Matthias, we were saying, tweet at us if you guys have any questions, GFABS5 or at Secluded Glenn. And we were talking about Stifle. What can you stifle? What can't you stifle? And a couple of things that we missed is that you could actually stifle the Meddling Mage.
Yeah, you can stifle when Meddling Mage comes into play. I think you're right.
Yeah, and that's something that people might not think about. However, the one interaction that's pretty cool is that when you have Stifle in your hand, your opponent has a sack land. So if you're playing the Rug and Rug mirror match, for example, or maybe even you're playing against a deck like Sneak and Show. All right, so I have a question for you here. Do you normally play around Stifle, or since you don't play around it because it's kind of dying down in favor, what do you think? I actually just made up that question on the spot. I had no clue what I was saying, but the question is, do you play around Stifle or do you run right into it?
I don't like to run right into it. I do, since I play a lot of Daze decks and Daze, Spell Pierce, Stifle decks myself, like Wasteland decks. I like to try and move the fight towards a turn where I have a little more mana. Like I can crack multiple lands to guarantee I get one of them.
Yeah.
If my opponent's trying to waste me, I like to maybe bait the Stifle there so that then I can Daze the Stifle, returning the land they're wasting, and protect myself that way. So I don't like to run headlong into it when I know there are some tricks to help you avoid getting full-on blown out.
Yeah, I kind of feel like... Oh, you can't stifle Meddling Mage? Who's tweeting at me that you can stifle Meddling Mage?
I don't know.
I'm going to go find out.
Maybe it was
Twitter.
Chris Pakula.
No, it wasn't Chris Pakula. Because I was talking to Matthias about this, and I got to check my Twitter on my break.
Yeah.
It's a replacement effect.
A replacement effect? That sounds odd.
Yeah, it does sound. We're going to have to get a judge ruling on that.
I'll trust the director. He's got an internet connection, which
he
I
does?
do not. Providence does not like my computer.
I feel like my biggest downfall in Magic is I have no clue about the rules. The rules of Magic, I tried to take a
That's
judge
a big downfall.
Test. Yeah. At one of the Pro Tours not too long ago, they had a judge test where if you got like 3 questions right, you got to pick a foil from this pool of rares. And I didn't even get one right, I don't think.
Woo.
Yeah, it was
That's
tough.
rough. That's rough.
I also feel like Stifle's a card that could make people quit Magic. Chris Pakula just confirmed it.
Confirm that he told Gerard wrong, or confirmed that it works that way?
It wasn't Pakula who tweeted at me. It was someone else. I'm going to have to find out who it is.
All right. Well, find him, track him down, and give him a good whipping.
All right. No, I won't do that. I'm a peaceful guy. So.
Oh, I thought you were from Jersey. Isn't that?
No.
Okay.
That's just all a myth. All right. So, Jeremiah, do you think he's going to take it down? What's going to happen here?
I honestly, being on the play is a pretty big deal. The real thing is, will he be able to answer Wastelands, or will Elijah draw them? Like we saw in Game 1, not hitting Wasteland for Elijah was pretty bad. And then in Game 2, it was pretty impactful that a Wasteland came down. It made his Thalia better. It made just everything he was doing much stronger.
Okay, I'm going to have to apologize because Joel Herrick actually said, people forget you can't stifle things like Meddling Mage. I just can't read.
Oh, okay. Well,
so no one gave me any false information. So thank you for the tweet. If you guys have any more tweets, tweet at us. But like I was saying about Stifle, Stifle is a card that essentially, is really frustrating to play against. You have a really good hand. Your opponent goes Island Go. You're like Polluted Delta, crack, fetch, and they're like Stifle. And you're like, really? 1 mana land destruction spell? I think that's why they stopped making land destruction spells in Standard, because players just hate that.
I like to
They
think
really
of
dislike it.
Stifle as more of a teaching card.
A teaching card, okay.
The first time someone stifles you, that's when you realize there's a little bit more to Magic than you thought there was. That's like one of those moments.
Stifled me once, shame on you.
Well,
Stifled
I
me
mean,
twice,
everyone.
shame
Those
on
moments
me.
happen like all the time. Like
Yeah?
for me, it's like once a tournament. So, like, oh man, I missed out on this one particular way that somebody can really just get me, and now I've learned, and I won't get got again. And Stifle is, for me in Legacy, like one of the defining cards in that way. Daze, another defining Legacy card.
Yeah. Yeah.
0 mana, counter my spell. Oh no.
All right, so Elijah did mulligan. He is on the draw, so 2 downfalls already. But we'll see how well his draw is. So turn 1,
Oh wow.
Wasteland.
Bold move to start with the Wasteland immediately, especially on your own turn, because Jeremiah's deck runs Crop Rotation.
Yeah.
And he had a Trop Gauntlet. In fact, he just drew a Crop Rotation for
Oh,
turn.
did
I
he
think.
really? No
Yeah.
way.
Wow. So normally
Oh,
I,
he did.
I like
That's
to upkeep that
insane.
stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there's another land from Jeremiah and a Pithing Needle naming Port. I'm going to say it's Port.
Probably
A
Wasteland, yeah.
again, but he just used the Wasteland. You know?
Man, that's actually so awkward. That means Jeremiah drew back-to-back running answers to Wasteland, which Elijah had on turn 1.
Okay.
Pretty awkward.
There's a Revoker, and this is going to name Candelabra, I'm
Candelabra
guessing. It is
Panos.
Candelabra? What a good guess, huh?
Yeah, well, Jeremiah only has 1 Candelabra, unlike most 12-post deck lists.
Yeah.
He's relying on Trinket Mage to search his up. So he actually is not going to be that wounded by this Revoker as long as he doesn't draw his 1 Candelabra. Like right now, he's just going to Trinket Mage for probably a Sensei's Divining
Yeah,
top.
definitely a top here.
Maybe an Expedition map, but my gut says top.
Ooh, a map's a good call here, too. I could see him getting a map. No, it's a top. Yeah, either top or map would have been good. I guess top's a bit better.
It kind of depends on the context of his hand and what specifically he's looking for. Because he's playing against Death and Taxes, I think top gets a little more value because they can help him set up those Bonfire of the Dams that we've already talked about.
Yeah. Now, do you think Elijah's a bit worried since like Jeremiah is still on 22 life and he doesn't really have a big board presence quite yet?
Yeah, this Phyrexian Revoker is not the clock that he wants because it just trades with Trinket Mage, and that's not, he's not interested in trading with pretty much any of Jeremiah's cards.
Exactly.
He just wants to neutralize them.
So there's a Needle. This Needle's definitely going to name top here.
Jeremiah's likely to pop the top in response.
Yeah. But too bad he doesn't have a green mana because then he could upkeep like Crop Rotation, right?
Yeah, he could Crop Rotation to shuffle it away. Draws a green mana.
Yeah, this is pretty funny, 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, these are some awkwardly timed draws.
And there is a Thalia. Okay, so this time I guessed right before I got word from our producers. So he's going to draw this Sensei's Divining Top, even though he doesn't really want to. And he'll probably play the Tropical Island. Do you think it's time for a Bonfire here?
Yeah, he does have a Bonfire, and he can cast it, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
He might just be hoping to get more, though.
Yeah, you think so?
He has the Crop Rotation, and the Pithing Needle is on Wasteland, so he knows that Elijah can't take him off the red mana. Like, he's going to have access to Bonfire when he wants it. So it's possible he's willing to sandbag a little bit.
Do you think he wants to get like an Even Mind Sensor as well or something? Ooh, there's a
Maybe.
Jitte.
Now, he's really kind of, putting himself in a risky spot because Elijah's actually holding a Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And the only thing stopping him from casting it is he needs 2 more lands due to his own Thalia.
Exactly. I think Jeremiah might actually go for the Bonfire here.
Yeah, the Jitte might be convincing enough to be like, all right, jig's up.
Yeah, so he does nothing in the end step and then draws the Candelabra.
Yeah, well, that incentivizes the Bonfire even more because if he kills the Phyrexian Revoker, he can now play Candelabra.
Yeah, so Jeremiah's really thinking about this, definitely taking his time. Again, this is the final round of the Swiss. This is the legacy portion of the SCG Open here in Providence. All right, these players are playing for a slot of top 8. The winner is guaranteed top 8. The loser is guaranteed not top 8 pretty much, unless something really crazy happens. So it all comes down to this. There is a Bonfire. How much is he going to do it for? And is he going to... So it looks like he's just doing it for 1.
The minimum amount, going ahead and clearing some stuff out.
And I think he's going to follow it up with a Candelabra and a top. Would that make the most sense?
At a minimum, he'll play the Candelabra. The top's still shut off by the Pithing Needle.
But I mean, I guess he wants to hold it for like a brainstorm.
Yeah, if he can brainstorm it back later and shuffle, that's going to be worth his time. And he also probably wants to hold open the Tropical Island to make that Crop Rotation stay live.
Okay, that's definitely reasonable.
In fact, he could have Crop Rotation before Bonfiring for a Cloud Post to like kind of make back the mana, but it doesn't really, because of the Thalia tax, it won't make back
It was pretty much like a break even. Yeah. Essentially a break even right there.
Active
Okay.
player, please finish your
There
turn and
is the
proceed to
candelabra,
additional
and
turns.
Jeremiah's going to
If
pass the
there's
turn.
not a judge
Yep, looks like he's
currently
sitting
your match and you
on
have a timing
the
system,
top that we already
please raise
discussed.
Show and
your
tell
hand.
and a crop rotation.
And the crop rotation.
Yeah, that's
so.
his hand. So he has a show and tell. He just needs some action to go with it.
Yeah, he really wants top to help him create that action. Top crop rotation lets him see 6 cards,
Yeah.
but he doesn't actually get to do that because of that Pithing Needle.
Okay, so there is the 4th land from Elijah. Do you think he's going to go with the Cataclysm here?
A Cataclysm would lock him out of being able to cast a lot of the cards in his deck, and it would leave Jeremiah with a clock in play. I think Elijah would be probably a favorite to draw out of it,
I think so too, right?
but it's obviously a tough play to make because you're really just putting yourself in a bind. He'd also have to choose between Jitte and Pithing Needle. He only gets to keep one.
Yeah, so I think what Elijah wants to do, he wants to play the Even Mind Sensor on Jeremiah's end step, equipped it, and then think about doing something with the Cataclysm the following turn.
Yeah, that's probably going to be his goal.
Okay. That's
He
definitely
at a
fair.
minimum wants the creature in play first
Yeah.
to get max value out of the Cataclysm. Every additional permanent he gets to keep versus having to hold in his hand is basically card advantage.
Okay, so now Jeremiah is hoping to top deck something. Again, it's back and forth, back and forth.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure who's favored at this point.
It's tough. Jeremiah has all that mana in play, but if Elijah Cataclysms, he's going to lose it.
Yeah.
Elijah slightly behind in the race, but depending on the artifact he keeps, if he keeps the Jitte, he's very likely to peel out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's definitely going to keep the Jitte,
Yeah,
right?
I think he does. I think he does too. But by the same token, Jeremiah gets to keep a top as a result of having one in his hand, and that could work out for him too.
Sure. All right, so what is Jeremiah doing with his mana here?
Looks like he's going to candelabra for some mana
And
after
then crop rotation?
he's doing all of this in response to the Mind Sensor.
So I'm not sure how much mana in his pool. It looks like a decent amount, possibly.
It's possible he's floating. He's playing a crop rotation and go ahead and just use Ayavugan right now.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's his line.
So if he does, then Elijah's definitely going to
Yeah,
Cataclysm.
he'll have to Cataclysm. He won't have a choice.
And as long as Elijah draws another land, he'll be able to follow it up and go equip my Even Mind Sensor, and then he's probably going to win the game from there.
We got Jeremiah's line right. He searches
Yeah.
up Ayavugan, and looks like he's going to be activating it as well with his remaining mana.
Okay. So this Cataclysm is going to be really devastating for Jeremiah.
Yeah, it's gonna. It
Like,
might
blow him
be
out.
winning the game on the spot for
Yeah.
Elijah, assuming he does hit the lands he needs to equip that Jitte.
Yeah, exactly.
It is theoretically possible that Jeremiah's Trinket Mage just starts to go the distance
Yeah,
while that Even Mind
I
Sensor
mean,
attacks.
he is currently winning the race.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is slightly ahead.
There's Cataclysm for you. Each player chooses from the permanents he or she controls an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a land, and sacrifices the rest. So you're only going to have one of each left in play.
Yep. Now, what's unique about Cataclysm compared to most balance variants is it's a solution specifically to Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Because rather than not mentioning Planeswalkers, it actually makes people sacrifice everything else, which includes Planeswalkers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there is the Cataclysm. That is going to resolve. And do you think Jeremiah was ever expecting a Cataclysm?
Based on this particular line he took, I would assume no. You know,
Okay.
he did he kept just playing lands, and Cataclysm is not it is a played card in this archetype, but it's not one of the better known played cards.
Sure.
I know that Thomas Enevoldson and Michael Bond, the Death and Taxes masters from
Yeah.
Europe, they swear by it, and I believe they've converted a few players as well.
I bet they're both watching now. they're
And
both
cackling
very, very
maniacally
happy.
in
Yes.
Denmark.
Yeah.
Got another one, boys.
Monday's probably eating his sandwich, going, ha ha, guys, look at me. I'm not sure if that's how he actually sounds, but that was my impersonation.
Yeah. Jeremiah probably debating whether he can win from this position.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Jeremiah's just kind of stunned here. He's kind of shocked. He's like, did that really happen?
Yeah. Jeremiah reading over his cards. Elijah reading over Jeremiah's cards.
Yeah, so they're thinking, so it looks like it's going to be Jitte, Even Mind Sensor, and of course Plains here. Jeremiah's going to choose Trinket Mage.
Is it crazy, or like I would keep the port? Because
You-
like
you-
if I draw my second land, then once I equip the Jitte, I can just start porting the remaining land Jeremiah has.
Yeah, so you equip one time and then you port the
Yeah.
rest. Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think I would much rather do
keep
that.
the port. Yeah, I could definitely see keeping the port. So he'll draw. All right, so
Well, he's on the road. Wow.
Yeah.
This is
Not
going to
the
be a big turn.
I know. Wow. And there's the top.
Yeah.
He'll get to use the top with the floating mana. What do we see here?
He really needs to find another locus. That's
Yeah, he
that's
does.
what he's looking for. He has 4 mana in play right now. With the candelabra, he can make that 6. So if he hits another locust, that's big game.
Yeah, so wow. So again, this game's far from over, even with the Cataclysm. So Trinket Mage will knock Elijah down to 13. Elijah will attack back. Jeremiah draws. Now they have to play pretty quick here. Only 6 minutes left.
Yeah, I don't think this game's going to end with some haymakers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure 6 minutes is more than enough time.
Brainstorm, Bonfire of the Damned. All of those cards are so good, but Jeremiah does not have the mana to cast any of them.
All right, Elijah, big draw here. Needs a land. Not a land.
His hand's packed, though. Sword of Fire Knight,
Yeah.
Stoneforge Mystic, Oblivion Ring, and I can't spot the other creature. Another Stoneforge is what it looks like.
2. Is the third one good? We could tell if he just immediately moves it to the top.
It's a top.
Doesn't really help that much. Trinket Mage swings in again. Elijah draws. Oh, there it is. Oh, and it was a
It's
port.
a port.
So in your face, Glenn Jones.
Man,
You know?
what a punishment.
Yeah.
That's gonna be very close to locking it up, as the port will be, shortening Jeremiah's mana even more.
I think Jeremiah needs to hit a land this turn to have any type of a shot. Let's see. Brick, and
Now I think
what is it? No, I think it was that altered Primeval Titan.
yeah, that's not gonna do it, especially because even if he hits that show and tell, Elijah already has an Oblivion Ring.
Yeah, he does.
At the ready, so it'll just have to get the lands, and that'll just have to be enough.
Yeah, so even Mind Sensor could pump if he chooses to do so. You think you want to pump here?
I think I pump. I'm not
Yeah.
scared of that Trinket Mage until I'm at literal 2 or less life.
Yeah, I think Oblivion Ring the Candelabra here is pretty good, right?
Yeah, I like Oblivion Ring in the Candelabra. It's better than porting one of the Cloud Posts.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same difference, really.
Yeah. All right. So even Mind Sensor will swing in. Is he going to pump? Yeah, he is going to pump. So Jeremiah will fall down to 5 life. And this is the last turn. Jeremiah draws. I don't think he has any outs, right?
No, I don't think he has anything unless his top can
Spin
I don't
into...
know. I can't even think of anything that can happen.
I think it's... No, he's shaking his head. And is that it? I
He
think
asks,
it's
would you like to draw?
Would you like to draw? Let's look at the standings. Elijah, what place is Elijah? Elijah's 6. Jeremiah's 8. He could give him the draw.
They could draw. It would,
Elijah's guaranteed. Elijah is guaranteed,
Yeah.
but it does go by standings right here. Jeremiah's a coin flip. Jeremiah's a coin flip. I'm not sure what just happened. We'll get some word out there.
my gut is that they